In 2018, I came up with a very ambitious goal for my collection. I wanted to try to collect every variant of a particular Cars character. Now that seems like it would be pretty easy, but there are really very few Cars characters out there who are easy to get all the variants of. Unless you're trying to collect someone who has like 2 variants, which I wasn't really counting for this challenge. It's very hard to find a Cars character out there who doesn't have at least one very rare variant. You could go, oh, maybe, try to get one of the Radiator Springs cars with a few variants. Like maybe Sheriff. Well, some of the Sheriff variants will be easy, but there's also the Precision Series Sheriff, who goes for like $100, and the Christmas Sheriffs are super expensive now. There are very few Lizzies. Why not try Lizzie? Okay, well, you could get regular Lizzie, and then there's also the Cars Land 1-year anniversary limited edition Wedding Lizzie. There are very few Cars characters where all of the variants are, relatively easy to get. So I landed on a World Grand Prix racer, not only because World Grand Prix racers have a pretty decent track record of easy/medium difficulty to get variants, but also because World Grand Prix racers kind of sit in that medium amount of variants category. There are variants out there, there are cars out there that have like 2 or 3 variants total, and then there are cars like McQueen or Luigi and Guido or Ramon where it's going to be very, very difficult to get them due to sheer quantity of how many variants they have. The World Grand Prix racers all have a good 8 to 12 variants, making it pretty easy to collect them all. And I chose Nigel Gearsley, one of my personal favorite World Grand Prix racers at the time. After starting this challenge, when I started, I only had regular Nigel, who I'd gotten in the summer of 2017. But after I started it, I picked up Silver Nigel in August of 2018, Nigel with Flames in October of 2018. I got Carbon Nigel for Christmas of 2018. Then in 2020, I got Metallic Nigel. Then in 2022, I got Neon Nigel. In 2023, I got the Quick Changers Nigel. And for my birthday this year, 2025, I got Ice Racers Nigel Gearsley. Now, with this in my collection, I only have 2 Nigel Gearsley variants left to collect. His rubber tire variant, and easily the rarest one in the collection, his Carnival Racer. But I'm very, very excited to add another Nigel to my collection. Hello everybody, and welcome back to another review, and to another TROC Racer review. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Ice Racers Nigel Gearsley. This video was a long time coming. Poor Ice Racers Nigel has been sitting off to the side as my next review for a very long time. I meant to review him several weeks ago. He was a car I got for my birthday back in May, but I've had so many new releases I wanted to prioritize and review first. But now, it's finally Nigel's time in the spotlight. Now, I got both Ice Racer Nigel and Lewis for my birthday this year. I'm very excited to take a look at Lewis when I finally get around to him. But of course, I was especially most excited about Nigel because it helps me be one step closer to my goal. Now, I could probably very easily get the last 2 Nigel Gearsley variants. I'm just waiting for them to have good prices. That's why I haven't scooped all of them up at once. Ice and Carnival Nigel are easily the most expensive in the collection. I found a very good listing for this Nigel, which was like maybe $20, maybe $25. And I sent that to my parents, and they got it for me for my birthday. I also found a very good and similarly priced Carnival Nigel, the cheapest I've ever seen him, at around $20 to $25, since he usually goes for a bit more than that. And unfortunately, he was sold out before we could buy him. But hey, I got the Ice Racer one, and now he's in my collection. Well, I'm not the biggest fan of the Ice Racers line. I gotta admit, Nigel looks pretty good, and his packaging looks absolutely beautiful. I love, love, love this custom edited artwork of Nigel here, with all the snow caked onto him, this great determined expression. And you can see he's also kicking up some snow on his side as he drifts through the snowy Russian racetrack. You could see some typical kind of Russian architecture there in the background, as well as the Cars Daredevil Garage app logo. This was an item from 2015, so they were, of course, promoting that at the time. My favorite part of the Ice Racer packaging is the bubble here, which has rock work, kind of icy rock work sculpted in, which is super cool. All the name tags are made to look like bits of rock work, and yeah, that's also textured and sculpted with the name tag cut to fit in there. And then there's just some interesting facet designs done here, which I guess does help with the ice theme, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of out of place with all the rest of the rock work. Moving on to the back, We have the huge Daredevil Garage App logo, but you can see 4 of the other cars in the series: Raul, Jeff, McQueen, and Max Schnell. Jeff is easily my personal favorite in the Ice Racers collection. Unfortunately, he's also one of the most expensive. I just love that new facial expression he got. We also have Raul and Max. I believe I have both Raul and Max, 2 of my only other Ice Racers other than Vitaly Petrov there. We also have a series description. When an unexpected snowstorm leaves the racers stranded, they take to the icy streets of Moscow for a fast and furious race through the city. Dominic Toretto is now canon to the Cars universe. The fun inspires the racers to start the Transcontinental Race of Champions, a series of extreme racing challenges that put their motoring skills to the test. Learn more at carsdaredevilgarage.com. I guess just carsdaredevil.com. Never mind. Alright, let's pop Nigel out of the packaging here. Super excited to get him out and add him into my collection. I've said before that one of my big problems with the Ice Racers line is that the light blue color scheme that all of the cars got just doesn't work on all of them. You know, giving characters with such different color schemes the same light blue design is going to work in to varying degrees of success. If you look at something like the GRC, instead of trying to give all the cars the same sort of color scheme, they chose colors that work with basically anything. Most of them have black or white added to them, but they mainly focus on giving them the same logos and giving them that same sort of hexagon pattern design to make all of them match each other. So, you know, I think something like that works better than trying to give all of them the same color scheme. But on cars like Nigel, it does look pretty good. Look at how small his inner bubble is versus the outer one. It's so weird. What happened there? All right, let's get Nigel on his back. Look at how small the bubble is. Oh, all right, Nigel, let's free you. All right, here he is out of the package, and man, he looks so cool. All right, I take it back. I don't think Jeff's my favorite ice racer anymore. I think Nigel is easily my favorite. Wow, that looks really sick. That looks awesome. I absolutely love that. All right, of course, like all the ice racers, he has this very cool sort of white overspray design, very similar to what we saw on the Beach Racers a few years later in 2018. Gives him this really cool kind of sheen. Look at that. Look at that. Dude, that looks great. One of my favorite parts about this item is his exclusive facial expression. While nowadays getting new facial expressions on basically all Expanded Universe cars is something that we've gotten very, very used to. We're spoiled with stuff like the GRC and Race and Rescue doing that. Back in the day, Expanded Universe variants having new faces was really a rarity, and Nigel and Jeff were really outliers in the Ice Racers line with their new facial expressions, with Nigel looking off to the side. In case you're wondering, no, this isn't the same face that his Flame and Carbon variants use. Those are looking in the opposite direction. He has the light blue incorporated, I think, pretty tastefully, and it does look kind of awkward with his dark green coloring, but I think it does work pretty well. It's used sparingly and used in some pretty good places here and here. I love the inclusion of it there, as well as down on his bumper, of course on his spoiler as well, and on his wheels. And the typical lighter green streaks on Nigel have been replaced with blue ones, which is pretty cool. I think I almost would have preferred if you didn't have this blue area here and just kept it as the stripes, but instead they decided to expand it so you had a bit more of that blue on there. And I don't know, I'm not complaining. I think it looks good. I'm just thinking of a different way maybe they could have done it. The detail that I like the least about this item is the Cup logo here on his hood. I love the Ice Racer Cup logo. I love that it's written in Russian, but its inclusion here, sorry, not on his hood, on his roof. It should be on his hood. I don't get why it's on his roof. It looks so odd. I complained in my Race and Rescue Sarge review how strange it looked to me that they just slapped the Race and Rescue logo on the roof. I think anytime you just randomly put a decal on a roof that isn't, you know, the racing number, it's gonna come off as kind of strange. I wish this were on his hood instead. I get you didn't want to replace the Union Jack flag there, but I just don't like it. That's better. I think it would look so much better if that were gone. But hey, it is a small enough detail where, you know, can't really complain about it. On the side, we have this great snowflake pattern printed on, as well as actually snowflake hubcaps. I did not notice that before. Is that something some of the other ones have? I guess maybe kind of. These are very clearly designed to be snowflakes. That is super cool. Why did I not? Yeah, so they all have different sort of snowflake wheels. That is so cool. I absolutely love that. Wow. And of course, the tires are fully done in white on the bottom and speckled in white on the sides. And yes, that base is all white as well. We got his number 9 there with some Russian writing underneath. I'm not sure what that translates to, unfortunately. We have the Cup logo there again and some of the other sponsor stickers and such that are typically on Nigel. I really love the sort of snowy smear on his side. I feel like I haven't really seen that on other ice racers before. It really looks like he kicked up snow onto his side. Yeah, that's not something that Max has, but I really like that. It looks like kind of a realistic skid design. That is very cool. Looks like he and Max use the same wheels. That makes sense. They are the same car model. We've got another little logo here on the back. Spoiler there with the number 9 on it. There is a look at the back. Here I think is where the snowflakes start to look a little silly. They do look very cartoony here, but not that bad at all. Once again, I love the Russian writing. I wish I could translate that, but unfortunately I really can't. There is a look at the other side. And finally, there is a look at the base. Man, I absolutely love this item. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. As someone who is self-confessed not the biggest fan of the ice racers, this really made me get the appeal. Typically, I think that the ice racers look kind of mediocre with light blue coloring that doesn't really fit their designs, but this Nigel looks so good and has so many great little details with the incorporation of the snow, snowflake wheels, and so many great little things. I love that they took the light green stripes and turned them into light blue. I get the hype behind the ice racers now, and I think that Nigel is easily my favorite one, and maybe it's just the recency bias, maybe it's the fact that I just got this, but I honestly think Ice Racers Nigel might just be my favorite variant of one of my favorite Cars characters. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this item down in the comments. I'll see you guys next time. Bye now.